All right. So, hello everyone. This is Carlos again for another episode of the Evolve Talks here. And today, my friend Bradley Lane, our Evolve ambassador in the UK, and myself, Carlos Monteiro, we are joined by the incredible Mert Denlapinar. Please correct me if I'm. Yeah, it's a lot of names, so if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. So, Mert Mert is a LinkedIn top digital strategy voice. He is now the he's now the principal at EPAM System, leading the CPG practice there. He's also a former global e-commerce at Mondelez and e-commerce director at L'Oreal. Mert, welcome. Thank you very much for the effort and for joining us here today. Today, I wanted to talk to you about building a global career. Also, talk about your insights. You're also an Amazon best-selling author. Let's talk about how you built your career. I think would be a really nice place to start off this conversation. And so, please, it's your stage.
Thank you very much. First of all, thanks for having me today, Bradley, Carlos. Really glad to meeting you and sharing the stage with you guys. And yes, currently I'm the principal of CPG's digital commerce acceleration at EPAM Systems, and we're helping CPG clients for their e-commerce and omni-channel journey. And my practice is basically revolving around the trending topics like retail media, digital shelf, cross-channel strategy, and the actionable insights around our analytical capabilities. But to your point, it's been a journey, and I've been continuing this part of the last 13 years of the journey in the New York City. And before I come to the New York City, it all started at college when I studied molecular biology, and I studied DNA repair and oncology diagnostics. After 4 years in biotech, wearing a white shirt instead of a lab coat, I've decided to switch industries. And from biotech, I moved to the food and beverage CPG industry in 2007. And with my own company, after 2 years, I moved to the United States at the peak of recession, June 21st, 2009, at the Fancy Food Show in New York Javits Center. That was my first business interaction with the United States CPG world. And since then, I live in New York and I work in the New York Metro. And I worked in companies like Cibovita, Sabra, PepsiCo, Mondelez, L'Oreal, and The Journey. And one of the turning points in this journey, which led me to the current role, current responsibilities I have, was deciding that where I want to position my scope, how I want to continue my work in any organization I work with. And I managed sales teams for over 7-8 years. Then I realized on a day-to-day, digital marketing became an essential part of the sales functionality, and relying on our marketing team, digital marketing colleagues a lot. And then I decided to learn what's going on with the digital marketing capabilities. So I studied digital marketing and integrated marketing at Cornell University. Then I realized the third corner of my triangle, data analytics. So we rely on data analytics day to day, more increasing rates. And in 2017, I've started my master's degree in applied business analytics from Boston University. So I completed my Bermuda Triangle: sales, digital marketing, and the data analytics. So today's omni-channel world, digital commerce world, I think nobody can argue that we cannot execute in an efficient way, and we cannot perform on a desirable level without having a decent level understanding of those three. That's why we see more people getting their resumes upgraded in those areas. And going forward, it will be just accelerating. And that's why I feel lucky that I have the time, I have the bandwidth to invest in those areas. And I got fortunate to work in great organizations, to learn from their framework, to learn brilliant peers I had there. And today we're just continuing the journey. We're learning and learning faster as a digital commerce domain, getting increasing rates, more complicated and more challenging. And I'm looking forward to hearing Bradley's experience, what's happening on the other side of the pond, and how his journey became today.
Oh, about cool. Me? Sorry, you're cutting out.
Indeed.
I was asking, how do you see the ongoing digital commerce acceleration and what the areas you're focusing on?
I can't hear.
What? Sorry. Can you hear me, Bradley?
Yep.
because he asked how are you seeing the industry and the evolution in terms of digital acceleration for retail, maybe brands. Am I correct, Mert?
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
I think in terms of the UK, apologies, the connection kept cutting out. With regards to the UK, it's all about data-driven decisions, utilising the data that you have in front of you, more so in real time than perhaps in the past. The data was saying this previously. So more businesses are moving towards real-time data. And there's definitely more of an opportunity, I would say, for brands and retailers to work closer together. So I've come from predominantly department store businesses whereby, we were working with really reputable brands, but it's very difficult to share data with them. However, I'm a massive believer if you share data in a more timely fashion, in real time, if you've got the capabilities, you can make better informed decisions together. So yeah, I think really data is the way forward in terms of the UK in a similar way to the US.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Bradley.
No problem.
Yeah, Mert, you said you moved to the US. So originally, where do you come from? I'm curious. Or
I'm
you
from Turkey.
are from the US? You're
Yes,
from
I was born
really?
and raised in Turkey, and I moved to the United States in 2009.
All right. So it's been so you said Turkey?
Yes.
Okay,
Turkey.
Some
fantastic.
pronounce it Turkey, some pronounce it Turkey lately because of the international efforts. So
Yeah.
I'm just following the trend. So you can call it Turkey,
Yeah.
or I prefer to call it Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey. In Brazil, we call it Turquia, so it's quite
Very
close.
very close.
Yeah, interesting. I worked quite closely with a personalization company from Turkey, helping them with the international expansion. It's called Segmentify, and it's very much in the realm that I listened to a podcast of yours talking about data. So it's quite interesting when you were talking. We'll get to that. But I'm super curious about your career. Still try to delve into that because you have recently you became a LinkedIn top voice or digital strategy voice, if we want to be more correct. And what's the role of thought leadership for you today? I mean, both because you're in a consulting business, if I'm not mistaken, right? EPAM Systems. You have I came across you, I think it was in 2021 with your snackable bites, the e-commerce content that I find it fantastic. You have in your newsletter as well. So I understand the role of thought leadership, but for anyone who's watching this session here today, why that is relevant? Why do you think being on not only on LinkedIn but having a voice and developing some sort of creating some sort of content and developing your voice on social today is relevant? I'd love to hear that and your take on that.
It's actually not the objective, it's the outcome, because as a person, I'm a lifelong student. I mean, I've had numerous degrees from master's level, executive, postgraduate level to the digital certificate level all around, because a part of our job today in digital commerce and also my personal habits is dependent on learning continuously and staying ahead of the curve. So therefore, I've been reading a lot of reports, articles. I've been watching a lot of training sessions and videos about my topics day to day all my life. I never stopped doing that, or I didn't start doing it recently. I've been doing it all my life. And then at one point, when I realized that I'm spending a lot of time on LinkedIn and I'm engaging with the other brilliant minds on LinkedIn, with my colleagues and industry peers, and I'm learning from it, I decided to generate my own content. I decided to share my own thoughts, my own insights and learnings on LinkedIn, and to see how much traction it can get. So I was doing it on the back end anyway. I was generating this content for myself. I was doing the research, and I was collecting all this information from my either full-time day-to-day job or from my first book. And then I decided sharing it on LinkedIn and YouTube. And to your point, I created the handle e-commerce because it's so natural, so close, and I get a lot of feedback about the selection. And then I realized that the more content I put out there, there was more engagement, there was more questions and comments, and there was more active, interactive discussion happening. And it's also another great source of learning for me. To be honest with you, I'm the biggest beneficiary of my content on LinkedIn because of the comments, because of the questions, because of the shared insights I receive. Mm-hmm. So it feeds my continuous learning stream. So I benefit from it as well. And then, of course, I'm not an influencer like many other people who have millions of followers sharing many more viral, many more attractive content, but I'm focusing on my niche, which is relevant to my day-to-day job, which is e-commerce, digital shelf, retail media, and analytics. So and also future of work, a little bit of, and modern management, leadership. So I tend to stick to those core areas with my content. And relevancy became crucially important because as a part of learning methodology or how your brain works, the more I engage with my audience, the more I engage with those questions and feedback, it just reinforces your learning. It just reinforces your vision, understanding, and capability to share it with the different type of audiences. So it's kind of an ongoing feedback mechanism, which allows you to become more and more comprehensive and stronger on your content, stronger on your domain. So I benefit from it, and I spare roughly 2 hours a day every morning about going through the data feeds and newsletters and posts I receive on my inbox. Then I generate my own content. I love visualizing my information, putting some charts and graphics on my insights, which is also, again, benefiting me more than anyone else because, again, reinforcement of the learning and making it easier to understand for audiences which might not be experts on the field. So 2 hours every morning is about my LinkedIn content. And I also have a YouTube channel, Analytics of Life and E-commerce. I'm not doing it to generate income revenue or big audiences, but I do it, again, for interacting with the industry, connecting with people, and asking my questions while I'm listening to their insights and learning from their vision as well.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's brilliant. I'm not sure if you, because you say you like to visualize stuff. I'm very visual as well. But what's your, if I may ask, what's your process? So do you write your content first? Because I watched some of your videos. I think they're great. I think there's one that you posted yesterday about retail or brand collabs. You're talking about Kroger. Very interesting. So you write your newsletter and then you record your content, or it's kind of like a separate process, like long form, and then you chop your content.
I was just talking about it to a friend before this call. So once you generate the core content text, once you generate the core input, it's really diversifying in multiple forms. So it starts with, okay, what topic I find interesting in my inbox and which topic is resonating with my current work, if I'm engaging with a client on a project, or if I'm doing a research, if I'm generating a report, or what's being trendy in the industry, what's really hot nowadays. Let's say when a new 3P marketplace comes into the scene, like Temu from China become popular in the US because they're Super Bowl ads. Okay, so 3P marketplace would become a potential topic for me. So it starts with generating the text. And I'm writing all these texts from multiple sources. I always use more than minimum 2 sources. So I have a couple of go-to platforms, and I always Google more sources that I can bring different views to the content I generate. And then once I generate the raw content, I start optimizing it. And of course, sometimes it's being tailored towards my own practice, what my team is working on, what my core competencies around, and I'm specifically gearing in towards those 4 or 5 topics. And sometimes it's more generic. Once the text is done and it's feasible enough or relevantly strong enough to post as an article or share on LinkedIn, then it becomes more variable because I can turn it into a video script, I can turn it into a visual chart, then I can turn it into small images in 5-6 image carousel format. I can generate a PDF document from it, and I can also combine a couple of post materials, a couple of contents in a richer format, in a longer format as a newsletter, which I post a couple of times a month. So, but it starts with the text generation and optimizing the text with different sources and with my own understanding, with my own input. That's starting point, then it's easy to diversify for different platforms.
Sweet. I think it makes a lot of sense. That's great. How do you see that? I mean, because this is amazing. I think what you're doing, being in the position that you are, but also in the podcast, I heard you said that you try to incentivize your team. Like to also to there's a bit of competition there, because in some companies, I think people they hold back, and like they're a bit afraid of posting instead of just posting stuff, posting things. Like so I like to hear about your take, to hear your take on social selling and how to create a social selling environment, because that is beneficial for the company as well at the end of the day, right? So
Exactly. Well, personally, I mean, at the personal level, regardless of our position, regardless of our role in our teams and what scope we are managing, I personally encourage everyone in my organization, whether we're working on the same team or whether we're colleagues in a broader organization, I encourage them to use relevantly effective social channel platforms like LinkedIn for their professional growth, for their career progression. Because I'm an expert in digital shelf, and LinkedIn is my professional digital shelf. So the more effective representation I have, the more convincing and substantial information I share on my LinkedIn, it benefits my personal image, my personal view, as well as my company, the organization I work for. Therefore, I can engage in more meaningful conversations. So that's why I encourage everyone to use LinkedIn as their professional digital shelf. That's number one. Number two, depending on the roles of the people on the team, if they're working on a business development, if they're working on sales, if they're working on outreach programs and engaging with the potential and existing clients, yes, then LinkedIn is one of the most powerful sales and lead development pipelines out there, a part of your digital marketing strategy. And if you use it at the right level of substance, the right engagement level with the right dosage, it can be a really impactful tool for opening new doors, generating new leads, and engaging with clients. Some companies are using it excessively, some companies are not using and utilizing it effectively, and some companies are in the middle. So if the role is relevant to those two functions, business development and sales, and yes, then I also encourage the team members to use it for engaging with the leads and prospective clients. And on the third level, it's fun. I realized lately I don't spend much time on Instagram and Facebook anymore. I mean, 10 years ago, probably I was spending more time, but I'm spending almost most of my social feed time on LinkedIn because, again, I benefit from it, learning for myself, even though I'm not selling anything or I'm not monetizing my LinkedIn at that level like many others can do. I'm learning a lot. So this is my social media personal time, and I enjoy it. It might not be the right social media channel for everyone, but this is how I benefit and enjoy spending my time on LinkedIn. And as a result, I'm really fortunate and privileged to see that all the content I'm putting out there, all the information I share with the audience has been perceived as a valuable, substantial content. And I received the badge for the Digital Strategy Top Voice, which I'm very happy about it.
I think it makes a lot of sense. And like for just my take is that there's no nicer feeling than getting at an event and feeling that people already know you, so you don't have to have the odd conversations. At least myself, I'm a bit of an introvert. I can do these things here, do videos on LinkedIn and stuff, but and even content after 10 years producing content, but like just getting in at an event and not knowing anybody, it's kind of odd. So LinkedIn gives you that opportunity to go to an event. People have a sense that they know you, so it's not just that odd conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's helpful. I admit that it's very helpful. That's true.
It's super helpful.
It makes it less awkward, doesn't it? Definitely, without a doubt.
Yes,
Mert,
I'm coming.
after you. Sorry.
Go ahead.
And I'm also engaged with a lot of organizations. I'm sitting in the advisory board in a couple of institutions like the Digital Shelf Institute. In the past, I was at the board of the Consumer Goods Technology. So I'm always in interaction with those industry peers at different activities. And I attend a lot of trade shows, a lot of conferences. But to your point, yes, having this kind of visibility in a massive platform online arena like LinkedIn it also helps people to memorize and get familiar with you. But again, I'm also getting familiar with a lot of other people, a lot of brilliant minds and top voices on LinkedIn through this platform. So it's mutual, it's interactive, and two-way street.
That's great to hear. That's brilliant. I was going to say, for somebody starting out in their career, whatever industry it is, what one piece of advice might you give them when it comes to LinkedIn?
So nowadays, of course, LinkedIn has evolved into a different platform what it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was just another new social platform everyone was exploring, and it started free in the beginning. Now it's a premium paid channel. But for someone who's starting their career and how they can benefit from LinkedIn, my advice would be, and I see a couple of universities are doing a great job about this actually, like University of Connecticut. I have a lot of friends from University of Connecticut because I was partnering with them on the MBA program and digital marketing campaigns in the past. I was mentoring some of the students in their senior year. They're encouraging senior students to create their LinkedIn profile before they apply for their first internship. This was happening 3-4 years ago. This is one easy, low-hanging fruit kind of advice. But other than that, I would encourage people to start using LinkedIn effectively, not only in interacting people, reaching out to them, sending their resume and asking for positions, asking for interviews. I would encourage them to start using LinkedIn as a also learning portal, because LinkedIn Learning has tremendous value, tremendous variety of courses today. And nowadays, nobody has time to complete a 4 years bachelor's degree, 2 years master's degree to learn something tangible and executionable in our industry. They can literally get valuable executionable information from a few hours long videos and from really top level experts. I encourage people to use LinkedIn also this way, to learn something tangible and impactful for their career early on, to separate them from the rest of the pack and put them ahead of the curve. So LinkedIn should also be a great information source for people, not only for interaction.
Brilliant, thank you. I know a couple of clients that I've worked with in terms of my consultancy are very much new to LinkedIn in its entirety. And I've mentioned to them the learning functionality as such, the learning ability, because very easily they can brush up their understanding on a subject matter, can't they, in a number of, in bite-sized content, but equally over the course of a couple of hours. That's really helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, so Mert, let's also talk a bit about your core business, so to speak. So what are the CPG and fast-moving consumer goods in the industry in terms of technology, things that you're passionate about? What is happening there? Where do you see the industry going?
Well, of course, there's always a lot of things happening, but being mindful of our time, if I need to narrow it down to 3 top priority items right now, we've seen a lot of acceleration on the retail media spending on increasing number of platforms. So budget allocation on retail media, data transparency with first-party data and audiences, and the accuracy of the measurement, proving the incrementality of this investment on retail media is number 1 priority happening right now across universal customers of ours. Second priority, I would say, now content optimization with digital shelf metrics and digital reporting has become essential part of any e-commerce team on a day-to-day. And now they're looking at solutions for scalability of these solutions, so how they can scale digital content optimization at a large number of product catalogs. And when I say large number of product catalogs, I'm talking about 4,000, 5,000 plus SKUs on any marketplace, because global CPGs today is selling anywhere between a couple of thousand up to 15, 20,000 SKUs on Amazon, Walmart, Target, Carrefours of the world. And third topic, I would say, to Bradley's point and another passion of mine, data analytics is not a privileged, exclusive tool or information for CIO and CTO towers anymore. It's a tool every function in the organization uses, consumes, and needs to understand, needs to manipulate every day. So citizen data scientist terminology or basic level understanding of how data, how machine learning, how data models can help a brand manager or key account manager or supply chain demand planner So these are the things organizations are looking at Salesforce on their day-to-day and which is relevant to my job. Those three will be in conversation for another few years. They will not go fade away, and it will take some time for it to settle the dust down and everybody has a comprehensive understanding and executive, efficient level of execution on those. Those three are the trends I've been seeing last 2 years, I would say. That's why I wanted to bring them up. Otherwise, they're very hot topics. Like everybody can speak about generative AI. Everybody can speak about the broadening use of computer vision. And we were talking about metaverse 2 years ago. Nobody remembers metaverse anymore. So it just passed and go. So again, generative AI, computer vision, those are also hot topics, but we will need to see and wait a couple more years how applicable they will be in the broad organizations, how mature and tangible results we can generate from them in a meaningful way. And those three topics I mentioned earlier are the ones we saw they're coming and they didn't go anywhere. So it will be here around for a few years from where I see.
Nice. Bradley, you come from the brand side, so probably you have some good questions there. And yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we spoke earlier, didn't we? A lot around technology and innovation and how, a lot of retailers, particularly here, are trying to become more joined up. So a number of retailers are forming stronger collaborations with Google to very much unlock more around AI and machine learning. Is that playing out in a similar way in the US? Are big players joining up with like Google Cloud? Yeah.
Absolutely. Because there are many applications of these technologies. As I said, some of them will have a strong impact and affecting the business objective, business results more than the other departments. But yes, they're receiving a lot of attention and they're receiving a lot of investment. And global organizations are trying to understand how they can capitalize those technical capabilities and make it work, making them work for their P&L, making them work for their consumer experience. And yes, as I said, some of them are really hot, really recent, and we need to see a couple of years from now where they stack in terms of the usability, day-to-day adoption, and also the business impact. But yes, I don't think we will see generative AI go anywhere. But in order to measure the real impact, we need to see at least 1 or 2 years to see how much benefit it will bring to the P&L of any organization.
Definitely. Wouldn't it be great to kind of jump on a call? Oh, wouldn't it? Is that me?
Yeah.
Not again. Bear with me.
I just I just muted his mic. He has it happened already another time, so it's very funny. Mert, when you talk about data transparency, can you elaborate a bit more on that? I find that interesting. What companies are looking in terms of
transparency for the retail media right now? It's an evolving area between the CPG advertisers and the retailers, because all these retail media networks that retailers are investing and launching are bringing a lot of capabilities in terms of closed loop attribution, first party data, retargeting, and also the reporting. But in justification of the increased demands of the advertising on these platforms, advertisers or CPGs are asking for data transparency. How can I get more transparent reporting on my investment? How can I get more transparent data for the first party we can get from the retail media? So there's an ongoing conversation, and this technology is still in its nascency. It's just 2-3 years old, and it's going to continue growing. So this data transparency aspect of retail media will be a hot topic to discuss in the coming years as the technology evolves and the platforms get more mature. I think eventually it will come to an equilibrium because it's one of the most profitable revenue streams for retailers, and all retailers are going to continue investing and enhancing their retail media network capabilities, and CPG brands will benefit, capitalize on those capabilities in terms of creating more meaningful experiences for their consumers, in terms of increasing their top line sales, in terms of getting more granular insights. So it's a win-win situation for both parties. And again, in early stages, these conversations are completely normal. A few years from now, probably we'll have a much more advanced transparency capability for retail media reporting.
Cool. How do you see the role of influencers today for CPG companies as well? And because when you talk about transparency, are you talking about attribution also? Do I understand you correctly? Like retailers, they want that metric that proves that the investment is coming from a specific source, and they can prove that to the investors. Is that correct? And then the role of it. Influencers.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant with the retailer's expectation and the brands ask from their retailer partners. When it comes to the influencers, of course, it will be dependent on the retail media capabilities, because some retail media capabilities have broader offerings and more diverse tools for advertisers to invest in, like on-site media, off-site media, in-store and out of store, out of home. So depending on the capabilities on the retail media platform, influencers might also play a role, because social media is another platform where retail media can be also executed. And I'll just share a post about it just 2 days ago. Amazon now announced a partnership with Pinterest and BuzzFeed. So we'll start seeing Amazon retail media sponsored product advertising out of Amazon domain, which is Pinterest, BuzzFeed, and other social media channels. And we will start seeing this on the social media channels with the influencers as well. But it will be all dependent on the capabilities of the platform, what retailer platform can offer to the brands in terms of transparency. It's a topic of discussion of the technical infrastructure of this RMS, or the retail media network.
Sweet. All right, Bradley, you were off for a few seconds there.
Apologies, guys.
No worries.
We went to ring in an emergency, but fun of being live. Yeah, I've just got one final question, Mert, and that would be looking back, if you were 18 again, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, I'm gonna share a little bit of transparency and vulnerability here. In my college years, I was so confident about life. I was so confident about the plan and the roadmap ahead of me. But a couple of unexpected departures in the family changed course immediately. So in my younger self, I would say that never take your eye off the ball and always keep planning for the next year. Don't rely on anything you have today, and don't expect anything will remain the same for the next few years, and it can change any time. So that will be my first honest, humble, and personal advice to myself. Second, more pragmatic, more professional advice. Now the speed of information and speed of technical development are much faster than what it was 10 years ago. And again, not because I'm a learning person, I'm a lifelong student person. It's a necessity. It's a requirement for today's workforce to be successful in their job. Otherwise, they're risking to become obsolete for their organization if they don't continue developing themselves every 3-4 years. If they don't acquire new skills, new capabilities every couple of years, whether it's license, whether it's certification, whether it's LinkedIn Learning or other free learning platforms, they're literally risking to be replaced by another employee, younger, hungrier, smarter, or a digital technology like AI. So there are many jobs to be lost to the AI capabilities in coming years. I wrote a book about this in 2019. So the one big advice would be continue learning. Never feel confident and comfortable where you are, and keep adding new skills and knowledge and aspects to your resume, your skill set every year, every 2 years. Another advice would be networking is great. Yes, we need to have a strong network. We need to interact with people, but don't rely on your contacts. Don't rely on your network connections to get somewhere in your career, which is always good, nice to have, but go ask for it. Many people don't ask the basic question. Many people don't just knock the door and ask companies to have an opportunity as an internship or as a role. Many people don't ask the question to change path in their career, to try a new field, switch from one profession to another profession, and be bold and be adventurous, because nowadays things are moving very fast. One category, one industry might not be as profitable, as hot, as sexy as it was some time ago. So if you're willing or if you're interested in doing something new, don't be afraid. Just knock the door, ask the people in charge of it, and do it. Because career progression is ups and downs. Nothing goes in a linear upwards trend. Everything is a journey. I'm sure there's a lot of HR videos from Harvard Business Review or MIT Sloan about this. There will be experts talking about this. But I would say, if you want to try something, if you want to learn something, or if you think something is better than what you do today, just knock the door, ask someone to do it, and opportunity will be more likely in front of you. If you wait it to come, if you rely on your network, you might miss a lot of opportunity in your journey. So those two would be the advice to myself back in the day, and probably life would be the same, but at least the feeling, the journey might be different, because at the end of the day, it's all what we feel, what we make of it. It's how we react to things to happen in our life. So we can choose to be happy, we can choose to be satisfied, we can choose to be feeling content about what we did, where we are, but we can try many things. We don't need to be stable, or we don't need to be very patient for good things to happen in our life.
Great stuff. Thank you very much.
Great stuff. We'll stop here. It was brilliant. So Mert, thank you very much. I'd like to thank you for your time. I know you're super busy, and it's probably what things are happening in the US right now. So I'd like to thank you. You're also moving. I told you, you can count on me. I know you're also busy there. I welcome you to the Evolve community. We can talk about that. So yeah, you're just going to be part of a great network with great people like Bradley, and we'll speak later. So thanks for this. And yeah, any final words?
Thank you very much.
Sure
Thanks,
thing,
thanks
man.
for inviting me to the live show today. Really nice meeting you and Bradley. And I also appreciate me inviting to the Evolve community. I've seen great people, brilliant and successful individuals over there. I'm looking forward to connecting with them more often. And yes, soon we will be changing continents. We'll be moving to a new country, and hopefully I'll be sharing the news in coming days. Looking forward to meeting you in person.
Great stuff. Likewise.
Great to meet you on screen, and look forward to chatting soon.
Likewise.
Take care,
Have a
Mert.
great day.
Have a great,
Take care now.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
have a great day ahead. Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Just a moment. I'll end the broadcast. Yeah.